The Chicago Bears may have more draft compensation coming their way per Albert Breer. Got to talk about how they're going to get it, and is it going to be utilized the right way? What could come from that draft compensation? All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talk Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. So, per Albert Breer, of course, with some of the issues that have popped up with other teams around the league, the Chicago Bears have a very interesting commodity on their team, that being one Ian Cunningham. He has interviewed for a couple of different jobs and has always opted to stay with the Chicago Bears to continue helping to build the program here. But is this the year that finally comes to an end? That is a big question, because he's been somebody who Ryan Poles has talked about as the guy who has held him back from making bad trades or making bad decisions, trading up to go get Rome Odunze, different things like that. Now, with where some of the question marks are with Ryan Poles, you do have to question Ian Cunningham and say, hey, wait a minute, is he the guy who may have been keeping this thing on track, who may have been keeping this ship somewhat afloat, even though it still feels like we're all drowning over here? But be that as it may, Albert Breer brought up the Indianapolis Colts as a potential team to watch for as taking Ian Cunningham away from the Chicago Bears. Apologies, I forgot to say this at the beginning. If you can't tell, still dealing with whatever this sinus thing I have going on is. So if I sound a little different, sound a little sick, under the weather, whatever, just bear with me on this. Still wanted to get this content out to you guys. But if Ian Cunningham were to go, they said that the Colts job would be a very interesting one for him to go to. Of course, Shane Steichen over there, would that be a situation where Shane Steichen and Ian Cunningham coming together to go to the Colts and try and rebuild that situation back up? That'd be an interesting thing to look at. But for the Chicago Bears, there would be a benefit there, because anytime a minority executive gets hired as a GM of another organization, his original team receives draft compensation. In this case, it would be 2 third-round picks for the Chicago Bears, one here in 2025 and one here in 2026. And that would give the Bears more draft capital in this upcoming draft, including 5 in the first 3 rounds. So now you're talking about having a ton of top-level draft capital here to get things done heading into next season. This is something where, again, if you're a Bears fan right now, there's been a lot of questions around Ryan Poles. Can you trust him in the draft? I've said on this podcast and on ESPN, I have major questions on his third-round selections. Getting that third-round pick back, while I think it would be nice and I would like that, I have a major question when the 3 third-round picks you've got are Velus Jones, Karan Amagaji, and who else am I forgetting that has not been good? Why am I blanking on that last name? My fault there, but it's just been a struggle for the Chicago Bears. Zach Pickens was the other name there. I keep the Chicago Bears all-time draft board pulled up here just for that moment. But yeah, Zach Pickens, Karan Amagaji, and Velus Jones, those are 3 names that you've really seen just not pan out here. All have been healthy scratches as Chicago Bears players. All have not. Karan Amagaji is somebody who you can't even put him on the field, apparently. You have a fear to even place him on the field. So your third-round picks have not worked out to this point. There are major questions there. But again, right, I think if you look at this draft as a whole, there's an opportunity to get a lot of things right here. If you're able to get Will Campbell in the first round, who, listen, I absolutely love this young man here, how he talks about football, how he talks about attacking his job and things like that. Those are the things that get me excited about a young man like that. That's the kind of player that you look at and go, okay, he understands not only just the physical side of the game, but also the mental side and what it's going to take for him to have the right mindset going into this league and being successful. That's somebody who I would love for the Chicago Bears to have on their team. But you look at that, right? You hope that you can get some things right with the center position possibly in the second round of this draft. I love Jake Majors out of Texas. I think that he is going to be a stud in this draft. I think that he's going to be in the range that the Bears have. Their first 3 picks are in the top 41 picks in this draft. So a lot of opportunity there. I think you also could attack the defensive side of the ball in those first 3 picks as well. And now with a second, third round pick on the board for the Bears this season, you're talking about 2 picks in the second, 2 picks in the third. That's just pure opportunity. I've looked at some of the names that could be available there for you in that third round. I mean, heck, if it's me, I'd even take a chance on a third round running back just so that we don't have to pay any of these guys anymore. It's a little high for me, but when I see a Trayvon Henderson, right, that gives me an opportunity to get the heck out of this DeAndre Swift contract one way or the other, or at least make him the backup. I'm not a fan of DeAndre Swift. There's been no questions there. I think that he creates no kind of run game. The Bears need some semblance of a run game, but it also gives you an opportunity as well to go with maybe somebody on that defensive interior. I think Deion Walker will be somebody who's down there out of Kentucky. He's somebody who you can absolutely keep an eye on there. I think that Isaiah Bond, if you want to go wide receiver, although Poles has not had a great job with those third round wide receivers. But I said I'm excited about an all Texas draft if it came down to it. I think there's a lot of good players coming out of that Texas team this year. I've been able to really sit down and dissect some of their tape, and those are some of the names that do get me a little bit excited. I think that could be impactful players here. Having that extra third round pick, it gives you that luxury to go after some of those guys. Now, this is probably end of or later on in the draft. You're not going to be getting guys top of the third round here with this pick, but your pick will more than likely end up at the top of the third round. But if you look at kind of later on in there, maybe a Blake Miller out of Clemson, I think he's somebody who's really shown out as well. He's playing that tackle position. Could you maybe slide him inside to guard if you get the answer with Will Campbell at that left tackle position? I think that those are things that you really need to address, but just some options there that you have by having that extra third round pick. I think this is a good situation for the Bears in the long run. It'll be very interesting to see if Ian Cunningham does end up leaving the Chicago Bears and going to one of these other teams and seeing what kind of effects that really will have on Ryan Poles, because again, Ian Cunningham has been talked about, the guy who has been praised. He's been the guy who has helped Ryan Poles. He's been the guy who has guided Ryan Poles off some of these negative paths. Well, are you the guy who has steered him wrong in some of these situations, or are you the guy who has kept him from making worse decisions in these situations? And how is that going to affect the Bears in the long run? Again, it's going to be very interesting to see kind of what Ryan Poles is at the end of this season. It very much seems like he's coming back. We've got a couple videos on the channel talking about that as well. Tap in with those videos. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I do believe Ryan Poles is going to be here heading into next season. I wonder if the Bears are going to do the right thing here and make it a easy. I don't want to say easy, because my best option here would be you reset everything, you put everybody on the same timeline, but make this a easy transition of, if you're going to keep them, you have to extend them. If you're going to keep Ryan Poles, in my mind, you have to extend him. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because if not, you're sending a GM into a lame duck season where he's going to take these third-round picks, and where that can get dangerous. Oh, I got 2 third-round picks. How about we package those third-round picks? We decide to just trade up. We're going all in at the top of this draft, which listen, yeah, you're getting talent, but again, are you building out the team? He's got the singles. He's got the hits. Can you give me an album? That's what I keep saying about Ryan Poles. He hasn't given us an album yet. If he's going to be here, I wish him nothing but the best. I hope that we can get another King Poles moment in the building. It doesn't feel that way right now. It feels like there's some concerning vibes around this front office positioning. Again, we talked about all that on the Chicago Bears podcast. I believe that was Monday's episode this week. Or I'm sorry, not Chicago Bears podcast, the Windy City Breeze Monday podcast this week. So tap in with that. But at the end of the day, you're going to get this draft capital. You got to be able to do something with it. And you haven't done anything with it in your third and fourth rounds over the last couple of years. Let's start to get that fixed. Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this is a good thing, Ian Cunningham leaving, or are you a little bit concerned about what Ryan Poles will do without Ian Cunningham in the building? building. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. As always, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. It's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down, one love. Peace.